Friends with differences.
Friends with differences.
Friends with differences.
Friends with differences.
Friends with Differences podcast. Welcome back. Special episode. I think I'm going to call it the Friends with Differences Meeting or something. Me and Liam just hear this episode giving a recap on the past podcasts.
Yeah.
So we went through some of our major topics through this past 8 episodes.
Yep.
Pretty much. Anything you want to add?
Did AI, more transgender talk. Because that was the craziest thought.
There are differences that are quite further apart than other differences for sure. The range of differences.
My hatred for DeSantis will reign supreme.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
All right. Well, appreciate you guys for listening. Hope you guys enjoy.
Yep.
And until next time.
Peace.
Peace.
Friends with differences.
Friends with differences. Friends with differences.
Hello.
All right, we're live.
Woo! We're back.
Welcome back to the Friends with Differences podcast.
As is tradition.
As is tradition. Cheers.
Cheers. As I say every time, hot start.
Hot start. Man, it feels different being over here on the couch. This is a different episode. I left my talking points. But it's just the two of us.
Yes, it is. We don't have a guest this weekend. This week at all. You don't have to introduce anyone.
Yeah. It's just us.
Yeah. Could get
Man,
heated.
I feel like slouching a lot on the couch.
Oh, yeah. I definitely do.
Yeah, I figure this is like oh my God,
There's a fly. Oh, there he is.
Oh my God, I saw him earlier and lost him.
He landed straight on your face.
I can't believe that just happened.
Oh, got him.
Oh my God, where'd he go though?
Oh, I thought he was still
All right.
there.
Well, that's disgusting.
Oh, no. He's
I
still
mean, no,
alive.
I killed him.
Oh,
I just don't know where his dead body went.
He must be behind. He must be behind the desk.
Yeah. But anyways, as I was saying, this could be like like a Friends with Differences, like meeting. It's like co-host.
Co-host.
We don't talk about the podcast outside of the podcast, really.
No.
So
No.
what do you think of the podcast?
Pretty good. Pretty casual. You did say you had some talking points.
Yeah.
Did you want to bring any of those up?
Yeah. One of the main ones was getting your impressions
He's got a
of the
list.
podcast.
Oh, okay. Is that the list?
You want to see my cheat sheet?
Okay, well that's fine.
My topics?
No, the podcast I think goes well.
We
We were.
see it. I was just reminding myself what I wrote down.
We were talking about how basically the drinking is absolutely with the guests. If the guests go hard, we tend to end up.
Oh, we'll go hard with them. We're here for it.
If the guests don't want to drink whiskey, we take a shot to start, and that is it.
Yeah.
So now when it's just both of us, we're like, we don't really have to go that hard.
Yeah, it's chill. It's
just
relaxing.
calm.
And it's the start of a big weekend. Memorial Day weekend, race weekend.
Especially in Indianapolis.
Oh, yeah.
Downtown here. Million people come. Basically.
Oh,
yeah. I think it's like 1.5 go to the race, right? It's something crazy.
Yeah, the greatest spectacle in racing. I don't know how many people go. We can ask Alexa.
Yeah.
Alexa, how many people attend the Indy 500?
According to an Alexa Answers contributor, the Indy 500 is the world's largest single-day sporting event and draws more than 300,000 people.
Oh, I was way wrong.
300,000.
300,000. I was way wrong there.
It's still huge.
It's big.
Alexa, shut up. We got it. We got the number.
You
That's all we
kept going.
wanted.
You kept going. Okay, that's a lot.
All right, yeah. So I figured we'd talk about the podcast
Yeah.
because I just kind of whip it together. I'm whipping this one together quick because I'm going to be at the track all day tomorrow. So
It's a
quick
nice, it's a nice
turnaround.
weekend for it, though.
Yeah.
It's not, like, too hot.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Last year,
Then I'm going south to the lake. It's going to be good.
Okay. Last year it was smoking hot.
Mm.
I went to the snake pit last year, and that was a disaster.
Yeah.
Ran out
I've
of
never
water.
been. I definitely wanted to go.
Yeah, they ran out of water last year. That was a
That's
mess.
crazy.
Yeah, that was bad.
That's like some Fire Island type.
Oh, it
or
was.
whatever.
It was
Fire
bad.
Festival
Yeah, we had.
type stuff.
I mean, even a couple of people in our group had like heat exhaustion and passed out on the walk back.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's bad.
That's like I'm going to the electric forest, and last year I definitely saw something that was like somebody selling water for like $20,
Holy.
and it was like, wow.
I mean,
Holy.
thankfully the people right outside the track
Holy.
are extremely nice. Like,
How you sit in this?
one of the guys when somebody passed out, like, brought us water for free. So like that was nice. He like gave us a Gatorade, like instead of being like $5.
Yeah, that's so cool.
But yeah, there's just no trees. There's no shade in the middle, so it's just
Yeah,
heat.
it's just Indiana sun.
Yeah,
I get burnt for sure. I'm definitely wearing something tomorrow. I didn't even think about that until now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get toasted.
I got extremely
Wow.
burnt last time.
I'm getting out a big ol' hat.
I'm pretty sure I reapplied
Wow.
3 or 4 times and still got burnt.
I didn't even think about this.
I'm pretty pale, but
How do I not think about this? It's because it's just turning summer.
oh yeah,
You know, I'm very used to getting burnt, but
yes. But back to the podcast. Really enjoy it. Loved all the guests so far.
yeah.
A lot of
We've-
people I haven't talked to in forever.
Yeah, it's very fun to get together for the podcast and just talk for the sake of the podcast. It's just like a good reason to get together, you know? It's very fun. And
mean-
you get to, learn some more about each other and
I mean,
stuff.
well, especially with like guy friendships, I don't even talk to anybody really during the week or 2 weeks, and then I see you every 2 weeks, so I just talk to you then.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, just try to, get to talking.
I mean, with most guy friendships, I don't talk to them for like a month, and I'll be like, "Hey, what's up?" But
Yeah. There's, even longer, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah.
I'm very poor at keeping up with people over distances, I'm
Yeah.
very much a personable person.
yeah,
Personable person,
personable person.
All right, so what I wanted to ask you, what do you think are like some of the most questionable things you think I've said?
Questionable.
Or
things.
like, because we talked about or joked about
Oh.
getting canceled. Is
Yeah.
there anything over the past, 8 episodes?
Yeah, I only tend to remember the last episode each time.
Oh,
I
yeah.
come back. But
Yeah.
last episode, it was probably the two genders quote. That could get you some heat
Yeah.
if we like blow up.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be the one.
I don't feel like I had a poor argument, to be honest. I'm still not very
I need to show you more John Oliver.
clear. I mean, I know John Oliver.
But John Oliver like brings up like articles to back up his point. Like he has
Right,
really
I've
nice
done a
writers.
decent amount of research. Like, I was diving pretty deep, just like kind of fact checking myself,
But yeah, that's probably the one. And I mean, there's a lot of people that don't like Elon, but that's just
Yeah.
a whole nother thing.
I think it's so crazy. Like,
don't
go
think
back to the two gender things. Like, the whole gender is a social construct.
But it always has been.
So,
Like
why could you just be anything and then just because your feelings and how you feel that day can dictate where you're permitted to go?
but I don't think it's just your feelings
Like-
that day, right? I don't think
But
it's,
it could be.
but it isn't. There's no way.
Like the Canadian wrestler dude I talked about last episode, it was that day for sure.
Weightlifter.
Yeah, weightlifter. He was a deadlifter. Yeah, I wasn't very clear about it, but
But no, I mean, in general, right? Christianity is the one that pushed. There's only two genders. Like there's like ancient Hawaiian tribe before they had more than two genders. Like you can go back back in time.
So then I gotta ask, what's the third?
So it was for Hawaii. It was like I don't know.
So you can identify as,
correct.
You
So like they had
as not male or female.
They had so like the men were always very like muscular and stuff.
Yeah.
They had more feminine males that were a separate gender in ancient Hawaii.
More feminine males that were separate gender. All right, yeah, I could see.
But
I can see how that classification happens,
But I'm just saying, like, it was Christianity that's the one that pushed up male and female as the only genders.
I do, looking at the physical evidence, right? So,
But sex versus gender is very different. And even sex, there's people that are born intersex, there's people born...
Right, but I do think that's kind
hermaphrodites.
of enlarged with the media, what people think, how prevalent the intersex...
I mean, it's not as prevalent
as
it's not as prevalent as it used to be.
Often as it occurs.
But back in ancient times, that did happen more just because
Probably so.
Birth
Yeah.
defects.
Because I was
and
looking
issues.
into it, right? Because intersex is obviously.
But that's
the
an argument.
easiest third gender for me to.
But that's an argument more
you know,
for sex than gender.
around in my brain.
Yeah, but that's a bigger argument
Right.
for sex versus gender. So like sex, people say there's only two. They're like male and female. But then you can get into intersex, and then that's more like you could say there's more than two sexes. But gender,
Well, not really,
gender
because
is
you're
different.
making a rule for the exception at that point.
But that's what I'm saying. That intersex falls more into like sex because that's what you're like assigned at birth.
Right, but it's
Gender
an
is
exception to the two sexes.
Correct.
Because I looked at, I Googled
There's people
how
born with none.
many people, what percentage of the population
It's not
is
much.
intersex. Right, and Google, the first result says 1.2%, I believe. It's either 1.2 or 1.7. But that figure's wrong, essentially. It's not a...
I mean, I don't assume it's 1 point. That's a lot.
That's a lot, right? So I
That's
did
a lot
some
more than
digging.
I
I did a
thought.
lot of digging because I was like, wow, that's a lot more prevalent than I thought. So I did some digging, and it's actually 0.0018.
I mean, it's something. I assumed it was something like that. I'm just saying, they had a separate. I think it was Judaism. They had, or in Israel, they had a separate gender for intersex, but that was because it was much more prevalent then, because birth defects and such, that kind of stuff would happen more often. But
So 99.
So there's only
978% of the population is either male or female. And then, physically, chromosomally, right?
Yeah.
So, we established these two restrooms, these two sports leagues, for these two chromosomal differences.
But also...
And so the people who are in between those two categories is 0.0018% of the population.
But also, on top of that, transgender people only make up 5%. Making laws for them, again, is making laws for a very small group.
5%'s a lot. That's 1 in 20. But I'm not saying.
But that's
I'm not
transgender
arguing
and
for you.
non-binary.
I'm just saying
That's
a lot.
that's non-binary as well, which
Right.
means they haven't done anything to
See,
transition.
I think the problem. Last episode.
I actually saw one. Actually, it was from John Oliver's episode. A woman that had transitioned into a male. This was in high school. Transitioned to being male. Wanted to wrestle with men, but they forced him to wrestle with females because he was born female.
Did
They want
crank him up with testosterone?
Yeah, so he was.
Well, then he shouldn't.
He wanted.
Then the she that became a he should not then be permitted to taking testosterone and joining back with the girls.
He didn't want to. He wanted to go.
Right, but
But that's the thing though. If you let him compete with men, he wouldn't have dominated women.
That's where the argument comes in, where it's like, all right, well, that sounds like steroids, right? He was
correct, but again, it wasn't his choice to like come and dominate. Like he wanted to fight.
Yeah, I mean, he
men.
wants to play, and I hate to say somebody can't play because you figure they can play in one league, but that's like a female taking steroids, right? That's what we just.
But that's what I'm saying. But why couldn't you?
So females for taking steroids often aren't.
Why couldn't we just let them play with the men?
Yeah, I have less of a problem with women playing with men than I do men playing with women, just because.
But,
I don't think it's fair.
But I mean, that's just an argument. He won state, and he did what? Like one of the.
I don't think. Yeah.
One of the other female wrestlers was like, I mean, what do you think? Like he didn't want to. He didn't transition just to win state.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I've never tried to say that like sports is the reason. Besides that one, there are specific instances like that bearded dude in Canada who did it just to get the record, which is like messed up for sure. And I think like oftentimes the category of transgender people gets compared to,
but
at the African American community, which I think is a very poor argument too.
I don't think it gets compared. I think the thing is, if you stop them from being in sports, it allows people to make laws against them that are like segregational or biased.
Yeah.
Versus, like, because that's when. Like for black people, right? They had segregation, and then they got allowed into white sports, and then that was when laws started slowly getting broken down. I mean, obviously there were still walls put up in housing.
So what laws need to be broken down?
Well, I'm just saying, if you stop transgender people from being allowed in sports,
the
bathroom
were the
one
dictator.
Is dumb. The bathroom one is stupid.
it's a poor argument, to be honest, but. If I were a dictator and I could make rules, I guess, to solve the issue, I think like people transitioning from sports. This is so touchy. Sorry,
but okay, hold on. So for that Canadian example, right? For most sports, they actually have to check your testosterone. Check your levels.
I think taking testosterone should almost be look like taking steroids.
Well, no. What I'm saying is,
I don't know if you should continue to be permitted to playing, if you are transitioning.
If he was transitioning to be a female, that means his testosterone levels should be checked.
Yeah, it should be getting lower, right?
Should be getting lower and checked.
Should be though, but I don't know. Like, what if he's already?
But there's also women that are born women and are cisgender that have high levels of testosterone.
Yeah,
so
but that's fine.
Hard.
That's just a woman then. That's just a.
I know, but high levels of testosterone are still illegal in a lot of sports.
No, taking testosterone, right?
But even
that's what I'm
saying, in the Olympics, like men that transition to be women aren't taking testosterone; they're taking estrogen,
right,
to lower testosterone,
right.
So,
yeah, I don't think even though they are taking estrogen, I don't think that's biological men should be permitted in.
But that's
what
I'm saying about the Canadian. I'm saying I don't think he was actually
no, he just
identifies or tested.
Because that's what you had to do. I don't know.
Because every other sport, for transgender athletes, they get tested. Like they have to get tested regularly to make sure their levels are fair for the sport. Like they can't be overly they can't just have been like.
I don't think a biological male taking estrogen is ever going to be failed, no matter crank him up with as much estrogen. But I mean, I don't know. I still wouldn't want him to fight women, you know.
But I mean, if you look at any example in sports, there really isn't a big example of a man transitioning to be a woman just for sports. In general. And most of the men that have transitioned into being women, this is a lot of times in high school sports. None of them are state champs when they transition.
I don't think that makes it okay though.
But
do you have to be state champ for it to?
But
matter?
well, no, but why does it matter if not? Like, I don't see the issue with somebody being a part of a team or something if they've transitioned.
I should probably play with the guys, right? They're a biological male.
I don't think so.
I don't know. So
Personally, I don't think so.
like, I don't want to be confrontational, but I guess I've got to kind of be confrontational. But you were saying that everybody should know about, like, the trans community, right? So
Correct.
when do you think they should have to know?
I mean, you can teach them. You could teach kindergartners or first graders that transgender people exist. Like, for example, with that.
So you explain sex to them? You have to explain sex.
You don't have to explain.
genitalia.
You don't have to explain sex for transgender. You can just
You have to explain.
say this man was feeling like a woman and made the transition. You don't have to explain the actual things of transition at that age. Because they're in our society. So, like, you can't pretend like it's the same thing with, like, gay people, like the Don't Say Gay bill. Like,
Yeah, have you read that?
yeah. Like from Florida? Yeah.
So what is your big problem with that?
The big issue with it is it's saying that a parent has to be comfortable with their kid being taught about it.
Right.
The issue with
Yeah, I'm okay with that rule. The parent has to consent
the
for their
the
kindergarten
issue
or child
with
to be
the issue with that though.
transgenders.
No, the issue with that is parents are always going to make an excuse because a parent can still be bigoted and stop it from being taught because they don't want their kids learning about it.
Can't they learn, like, naturally with, like, meeting people instead of having being taught, you know?
Not really. I mean, when you think about it, for us, right? This is a different example, but our history classes were extremely white history. Like, I didn't learn much black history at all in Catholic school. I learned a lot of it afterwards, but that was because I was interested in the subject and don't understand why it wasn't taught. So, I mean, I think it's the same thing. Like, I don't know anything about gay history. I would like to learn about gay history. Like, that would be something that's interesting. It doesn't have to be.
I don't feel like I don't know about gay history. Maybe I.
Like, I don't know.
When the rights shifted.
The riot.
And
Well,
whatnot,
but there was also like riots in New York City, right? Those are the big ones. This is why June is a huge month for the gay community.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about that. So, why am I not taught that in school? Because it doesn't mean like I have to learn.
It's like saying kindergartners have to be taught this.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not saying kindergartners. It's the same thing. You have to start from like an age, right? Like that can be taught in high school. You just need to know. Like kindergartners just need to know that there are people that there are men that also like men, and women that like women.
So that right. So you
don't have to be like,
So
that
telling
man
them
fucks the man in the ass. Like that doesn't have to
But
be
telling
taught.
them they are gay is saying that, right? It's saying they're homosexual,
Correct.
which means they sexually prefer men.
Yes,
Being gay is
but that
a sexual term.
no, but you don't have to. You don't have to be like.
See, the thing, this occurred to me when I listened to the last podcast. You believe there are asexual gay people?
There are just asexual people. There's no asexual gay
sure.
people. There's asexual
But you
and
think
gay people.
there can be somebody who's gay and not in a sexual way?
There's people. No,
That's what you said on the last podcast.
no. What I'm saying is you can talk about gay people in a
Mm-hmm.
non-sexual way, because there are people in society that are gay, and they're going to be in society.
So what are you going to talk about? with
You
them
can
being-
literally just say, "Oh, he has a husband." That's it. They don't have to be like kindergartners in their heads aren't going to be like, "Oh, he's fucking him." Like they don't know that. They don't know that. They're like
Yeah,
we still see.
I didn't read.
We still see heterosexual like
The
even in
bill
kindergarten, right?
Saying that you can't use their physical pronouns. Like husband would be correct for a gay marriage. They have a husband. It's
Correct, but they can't talk
the
about.
Don't Say Gay bill.
They can't. They
House
can't.
Bill
They can't.
1557.
They can't talk about their marriage. Like there are people in Florida that are.
It doesn't say that though.
Okay, but the thing is, when it says a parent has to be comfortable with it, it doesn't matter what is said in it, because parents can deny anything.
It says the parents have to be consent
Correct.
for them to get.
So they can say no to a gay teacher. You're thinking the best of these parents.
It doesn't say they can discriminate against teachers because of their sexuality. It doesn't say that.
It doesn't. It's never going to say that word for word.
That's not what it implies either.
Yes, it does.
No,
Nothing.
It's like guaranteeing the rights of parents.
Florida has had the biggest banned book
privilege
issue
of educating their kids on sexuality.
But it doesn't even have to do with sexuality. That's what I'm saying. Like Florida,
right? And gender identity.
Florida has.
It says they can't be taught about gender identity,
which is stupid.
But that's like one way of thinking, right? I don't personally believe there are multiple more genders than two, right? I think there's two genders, so I think addressing people it's like how you assume they look.
It is a
stupid
appearance. Law. Like Florida pisses me off more than anybody. DeSantis is an idiot, but he is a bigot. And the thing is, I'm
not trying to defend DeSantis. I just think people assume this bill says more than it actually does.
No, but the thing is, when it says parents consent, a parent can say no to learning that gay people exist up till 12th grade if they really wanted to. Which means that it will never be taught.
They can not consent to being taught about being gay. Yes, I guess.
Correct. So this is the issue.
Being taught homosexuality. I don't know
being taught that homosexuality just exists. Like it exists everywhere. Right. There's gay people around everywhere. Right. And then on top of it, Florida has the biggest banned book list in the country.
Yeah, the banned book list is crazy.
One of them being two gay penguins raising an egg together, which is a way you could teach kindergartners without there being sex involved.
Wait, it's about what?
There's two gay penguins at a zoo that raise an egg together.
Right.
It's a little cartoon book that got banned in Florida. That book is a way to teach kindergartners about gay people without there actually being.
Yeah, the banning books is ridiculous pretty much across the board. That's crazy.
Correct.
To not allow anybody to read something.
Exactly. So.
But I'm saying you want to indoctrinate.
But that's not
people.
But that's not
gender practice.
But that's not indoctrinating.
It really it is
because kids are taught even in kindergarten about the Little Mermaid and all these princesses that marry princes, right? That's heterosexuality. Why can't they be taught about gay people and homosexuality? It doesn't have to be with sex.
They're not saying they can't. I'm not saying they
but
can't read about two dude penguins having a kid. I'm not saying anything like that.
But that's what I'm saying. That is a way to teach little kids that exists in this world, without it being about sex. It doesn't have anything to do with sex.
Yeah, we shouldn't ban the books, but I don't think we should make it a course in 3rd grade.
But it's not even supposed to be like a course. It's more just acknowledging people's existence in this world. Like, yes,
right.
You've learned that in college. People don't always get to go to college. Like, high school is sometimes the last time people learn. So, learning about history, about the rest of the world, rest of people.
Yo, keep learning out there.
But I'm just saying.
I'm going to need another beer. we got to one topic. Not even.
This is how it works.
Yeah, I didn't interpret it.
But you're also thinking the best of parents. That isn't necessarily
not really.
True.
I understand. I think some of the nightmare that people are
correct.
I think scared of.
What?
But there's two different nightmares, to be honest, in the conversation. The far right nightmare is. They're going to take my kid, and in school, I'm not going to know it, but he's going to be having therapy that encourages him to switch his identity. That's the far right nightmare.
That's far left. Oh, far right. I see what you're saying.
That's the far right nightmare. The far left nightmare is that, there's going to be like a fascist presence that, discourages and... strikes down people who want to talk about
I mean,
gender
the
identity and
U.S.
sexuality.
The U.S. in
I
general.
think that's the two.
No, I'll tell you.
extreme
I'll tell you the
sides
big
right there.
issue with the
think
with the
that's
U.S.
just-
versus Europe, right?
Mhm.
The U.S. with history, a lot of times we try to not talk about our failures, like the South. A lot of them still think that the
Yeah.
Civil War was fought over states' rights, and not fought over slavery, when it 100% was. You know,
Yeah, that's wild.
which and in Europe, a lot of times they know they fucked up. Like Germany acknowledges Nazism, they know it's really fucked up,
Yeah.
and like it's a part of their history, and they know it's a part of their history.
Yeah.
The U.S. avoids anything that
Yeah.
makes us look bad. Like
Well, I think we can still be proud of the
I'm not-
country without.
no.
And I'm not saying you're speaking against that, but like, it feels like people are
Personally, I think
easy to condemn.
I think the thing is, I am proud of living in this country, but the way to see
Hey, me too.
the way to see my pride, I think, is improving the country rather than letting it sit stagnant. Like,
For sure.
So,
Change is a good
so
thing.
I think there should be changes in history because we should learn about good and bad. Because
Mhm.
we gotta
Well,
people
yeah.
always say history repeats itself if you don't learn from your mistakes. So why wouldn't we learn from our mistakes about what we have done with redlining and segregation and everything?
Well, I think those are like also
I'm not
different
saying
issues. You
but-
know, redlining is
redlining is a part of segregation, but
right, but it was a like a geographical limitation.
correct. But it was a segregation. It was a mandatory one. They wouldn't approve
And-
loans to black
You
people.
know, like the civil rights movement. That's about race and racism, right? And this is about
redlining was after
gender and
racism was,
genderism,
but that
which
should
is still
that should
a
still
mental illness, right?
I mean, that should still be taught, though. Like, what I'm saying is everything in our history should be taught. Everything. Like, how we kind of got ourselves involved in World War
what's the
II.
history with transgender?
Well, you could talk about the LGBTQ beginnings that were involved, riots in New York
But
City.
I don't think we should include the people that identify in the LGB community.
Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender.
Right, those are sexual identities and sexual preferences. And I don't think they, to be honest, belong with the same group in all conversations with transgender individuals.
They don't always belong in the same community, but a lot
I'm
of
okay with teaching the
but,
history
but,
on
but a lot of
sexuality,
their
really,
history comes from the same place because the first person that started the riots in New York City was a person in drag in New
Yeah.
York City. They started throwing bricks, and that was in June, and there was police riots and such. So, but
Right.
again, that's something that I don't know that person's name. I don't remember the name. I remember reading about it, but that's something that should be taught in school. Like in high school, I should learn about that. I should learn in high school. Everything. Like nothing should be fully off limits in history for the U.S.
I agree.
Like high school, yes, your mind is developed. Even if you want to argue at a younger age, they shouldn't be learning about that in high school.
I think teaching gender identity at a young age could be alarming because I think you're adding into confusion a lot of the times.
Okay, well, I'm not saying like
Can add
for
into
but for
confusions.
kids to transition, that's not like the idea.
I know.
But what I'm saying is, people like kids learn to be like accepting at those ages. Like kids learn to accept who they want to accept later in life at a young age. Like if you only see white people around you a lot of times.
But then again, now you're comparing race again to
No, but what I'm saying is with similar things, if you don't hear about other people in this world that men like there's boys that like boys or men that like men or women that like women. Like for example, I mean my cousin is married to my cousin that is a female is married to a woman. They have 2 kids together. Their kids aren't going to be getting taught about their parents' relationship in Florida, for example. Like if they were in Florida. I mean, they're in South Carolina, so I don't know if it's much better. But like that could be what happens. Like people like little kids.
It shouldn't be
Little kids that
prejudicing
have
against
gay
a
dads,
group of the
and
sexual identity group. I don't think.
but little kids who have gay dads in Florida, right, they're not gonna see, for example, their dads in any media content because they're not allowed to be taught about it, even though they have two dads. That makes you stick out a bit, no? Like that makes you feel like not together.
I don't think there's a. I don't know that.
They would have to get taught at home, which is not the same. You should still be taught that at school.
I think you're assuming people have prejudices. They don't, though. Like.
What do you mean?
Like you're assuming, like how you said, I was assuming the worst of.
No, I said you're assuming the best. The best.
Oh, the best of the parents. Well, I think you're assuming the worst.
I am. It's Florida.
Of right.
I mean, when you make a law that allows even one parent to be uncomfortable about something,
I don't think people are going to be prejudiced against transgender people.
But that's not prejudice. That's just saying, "Oh, I'm
innately
uncomfortable with being taught," which is prejudice.
I'm not comfortable with. I don't think if I had a kid, I don't think I'd be comfortable with.
I would
learning about gender identity in kindergarten.
I mean, they're not gonna be like.
To be honest, gender identity, I think, adds confusion to their already, if any, poor understanding of what the genders are.
If your kid is gonna be straight and cisgender, that was gonna happen regardless. It's not changed. In that,
I don't think that's necessarily true either.
How so?
I think your experiences can dictate how you end up, I guess.
Yeah, but I don't think like it's gonna be the same argument where it's gonna be like, oh, there's more transgender people now than before, but that has to do more with the ability to be transgender is more allowed now. Like it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like causation versus correlation aren't the same. Like, it's heavily correlated, but it doesn't mean it's a cause. You know? Ice cream and shark attacks, they rise at the same time.
Yeah, I understand the argument.
But.
Well, we probably shouldn't make it a whole other trans differences podcast. I want to go grab another beer. I think I'm just going to cut for a second and grab a beer.
Okay.
Boom! Alright, something about United. We're back.
United, Champions League. Come on. Top 4 guaranteed. Fuck you, Liverpool. Beat Chelsea today, 4-1.
Cheers to that.
had to rub it in Pete's face.
Alright, so we've kind of covered the most controversial thing we probably talked about.
Yep.
So one of the other big topics these past 8 episodes is AI. And you said at the conclusion of the last episode something about you learned very little and you don't really understand it or something along those lines.
So I don't understand. So, oh gosh, I literally had just watched something on AI.
Nice.
I don't remember all of it. It was actually a John Oliver episode. He really went into it. He just said there has to be. He said there has to be more laws on. It was a certain type of AI. It was. Oh God.
So I figured I'd give like a brief description of my understanding of AI.
Okay. I just think for things that involve healthcare and such, probably should involve a little more laws. That's about it.
Probably. Yeah.
I just think it needs more regulation. I like the idea of AI. I think it can improve a lot of things. It just needs.
All right. So AI's been. We were talking about it today at work, and AI is quite broadly used.
Correct.
Now.
That's why I'm saying there was 2 different types of AI.
Right. So AI often refers to a tool that. AI stands for artificial intelligence.
Correct.
How do you resemble artificial intelligence? It has to resemble human-like behaviors. It can act or do a human-like activity, create something, talk, or spell something out. Right? So it resembles a human. It's artificial intelligence, but it can convince you it's human.
Yeah.
But when people say AI, they're often referring to tools
Correct.
that incorporate a human-like neural network. So AI is just a tool, and you can think of it as clicking start or a button, a big red button. You hit the big red button, and it, sets off a chain of events. And at some point in the chain of events, it references a neural network, right, to collect data on what it should do.
So, adding to this. So I was on my phone, but I was paying attention to you. It's narrow AI versus general AI. General AI is like clustering and classifying people and things for a certain result. So like another one I watched, it was like talking about...
You're talking about a type of...
There's two types of AI.
Model.
Yeah. So narrow AI
there's
is like...
There's more than two types.
Well, yeah, but like these are the two...
These are the two
ones.
classifications.
Yeah. So general AI is like either classifying or using a certain amount of data and like creating, like telling you what the result is. So like say somebody...
What? Wait.
Say somebody takes like a picture
This
of...
is called what?
General AI.
General AI.
So somebody takes a picture of like a mole or something, and it's next to a ruler, and then they say, "Oh, they have skin cancer," right? That would be general AI because they're making a like classification based on what they see. But the issue sometimes is general AI, could be a lot like. Also, my phone died. But general AI, like for example, they thought rulers. There's like one story. It's like they found rulers to mean it was cancer because like doctors will put a ruler in because it was measuring the mole and showing that it's cancerous. So like they started just putting in every time there was a ruler in, even if it wasn't cancerous, that it was cancerous. But it's just that data set, right?
Interesting, right?
Yeah. So like that kind of stuff.
So the generalization,
that stuff needs more regulation, just because it involves a lot of different things, and it's the AI generalizing based on what's put in the data set. And so you kind of need to know what the data set is.
Right.
So like,
you want to limit.
Not.
Or what's the other type that's not supposed to be
narrow AI is just like the data, anything. So like, ChatGPT is more narrow AI. I think
I
that's
don't understand.
Hold on, you can look this up for me. But
let me go through my explanation real quick. Right. So the chain of events references the neural network.
Yeah,
that has the appearance of human-like intelligence.
Yeah.
Right? So in 2002, Stability AI released Stable Diffusion, and they made it open source, or their source code was available, right? Correct. Is available for third-party uses. Right? So that was one of the first, I'm going to say it's the first, but one of the first
big ones, just say it's like
code sources openly available. So now you can develop the tool that incorporates a neural network that references their neural network.
Gotcha.
References their source code for the neural network in their data set. A lot of times the hard thing to come by is the data set, obviously, right? So people have publicized large neural networks that you can reference.
That is the issue. Is like a lot of data sets aren't published. So like
most aren't.
But there
are a couple that are open source now.
Correct.
Which led to this crazy influx in publicly available tools that have AI-like appearances.
But that's sometimes the issue is like if you can't see what the data set is, there can be.
But you can. On the publicly available ones.
On the publicly available ones. I'm saying the ones that aren't publicly available. If that data set is used to read something, like, it can have biases because we can't see what's inside the data set. You kind of need to see what every data set has to let the AI... Like, the AI is a great tool. The issue is if there's biases in the data set, it ruins the AI.
Right, but there's always going to be biases.
Correct. But it's a lot easier to find the biases and the issues with an open data set.
the publicly available data sets. You want to make a law that very much limits the public data set available.
No. I want all data sets to become publicly available. Like even the data sets that are private.
Well, that's just never going to happen.
I understand, but like they should be more publicly available. Like say if they get audited or something, they have to turn over the data set or something, because the issues come from the data set. If there's an issue with a product from AI, it's going to be from the data set.
It's not even a problem with the data set. It can also be a problem with the code that interprets the data set.
Correct.
Which is a whole different variable that's constant.
But a lot of times the AI can be read through. Like a lot of that programming usually can be seen, right? Like you can look through programming in data sets.
Yeah, the source code.
Correct, in the source code. So when data sets aren't available, that's different. Data sets should be available. No? Should be public.
But you're never going to be able to visualize or wrap your head around or read the data set because it's so remarkably big.
I'm not.
Nobody is.
Could a lot of people go through it?
No, people get paid to cycle through just micro amounts of the data set. I mean, it takes years to collect most of the data. Most neural networks rely on a data set that took years to acquire.
Yeah, but I still think it should all be public. No? Because then everybody could use it and everybody could make new things that are better. No?
So the source code is public, right? How it interprets the data.
Correct.
So there's a code that interprets the data.
Correct.
That's public. The brain of it, the neural network, lives on a big ass computer.
Correct. The raw data should still be public.
It can't be because it's so much data.
Okay, why not? Like, what if somebody wanted to go through some of it?
Because in order to categorize, how do you look at something in a library? You have to know the title of it and you know where to go, right? So you want the entire catalog of the data.
I mean, they've been getting it from all of us anyway. Why can't I see my own data? I don't know.
There probably could be a tool to that
lets you could search your number
through the data more efficiently. There probably could be, but
yeah.
I mean that's
I'm just saying.
But it's
not easy. I know it's not easy, but
in referencing it's also not going to be able. It doesn't know personal identity. It doesn't. That type of coding comes in post, right?
Well,
so like Liam Herbert is going to break that down to Liam, and then
correct.
The data
but it's like also, it's also like
it's
also though if you know five lines or 6 lines or something, you can get it down to like 10. You know, like if you know enough about yourself where that data is, because it's gonna be like white, blonde hair, blue eyes, my height, my weight. You know,
it's not gonna know you.
But the data has things to separate. It doesn't have your name, but like you can find ways to like.
You could mimic you with AI very easily.
Interesting.
Just with a couple of references of yourself. But to acquire all the information about you is another task entirely, for sure. That's a different.
Do you not source. Like? I guess personally, I don't know. I just feel like the companies that take our data, like on our phones or on the internet, right? Yeah. Does any of that go to AI? I feel like that would go to a data set now.
The actual
because it's taking in data, right?
Not all. Well, it learns data that you feed it, right? So it's fed information from websites, but it's not explicitly the user information, like the frequency of users on the website, unless that's published on the website. it's like acquiring the information presented on the website, not the back end knowledge of what makes up that website.
Interesting. I don't know.
Is
It's just a
my
couple thoughts.
understanding.
I don't know.
No, I mean they're like
I have just a couple
you
questions.
You could apply an AI tool to probably specialize in looking for such data.
I did
So,
see.
like,
I did see.
that kind of bot should be regulated, right?
Yeah, I did.
But I don't think
I did see one story. The I think it's the I think it is the self-driving. I don't think it was a Tesla, but it was self-driving for another car. But their data set was a lot of it was like white old men or something like that. Like a lot of white old men, because that was just probably who they had at their company or something. But it wouldn't, like, based on testing, they found out that it wouldn't be stopping if a black person was in front of it, just because the skin color was so different, and they didn't like realize it as a pedestrian, and they had issues with
homebrew.
They had issues with jaywalking as well. Because, like, they only realized, like, it recognized crosswalks, and, like, all the people were walking on the crosswalks. But if you don't have people jaywalking, they don't recognize it as a pedestrian.
Yeah.
That's
crazy.
It
sounds like a real homebrew kind of
data sets in general are just, they're important.
Yeah, for sure. The large mind behind it all. But, maybe there could be a tool that you could be able to see everything that the data set references. Probably not. Well, yeah, maybe. But I think you want to regulate the AI in terms of the type of tools you can make from it.
Yeah, I'm not saying that there isn't stuff that could be used and tools made. I'm just saying, like, right now, AI is very much like the wild, wild west, because anything can be done, which happens with new technology.
I wish it was the wild, wild west.
I mean, crypto was like that. Crypto was the wild, wild west for a really long time, and then it got regulated.
It's a fun saying.
It is. It is. It is a fun saying. It's just, regulations are important for anything, and for its staying power. Regulations are good.
And for its staying in power?
Staying power. As in, like, it's staying. For its staying in.
Potential staying
yes.
power.
Speaking of, I'm jealous of I think it's the French. The French made a law against.
Oh, the iPhone?
Yeah, I'm jealous.
That is a good law.
It's a very good fucking law.
I don't know. Well, I haven't read it, but it sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we talked about AI a lot this past,
couple times.
Season. We call it a season. We're on season 1.
Once we hit 26, we go to season 2, because that's a year.
We could do that.
That's a year.
It's 26. Well, I was also thinking about maybe bringing up thoughts on doing it every week.
Oh, okay. Oof.
Because I talk to a lot of people, and I know we don't have a guest today, but there's a lot of people I say, like, yeah, you come on, but then there's only so many podcasts,
But that's probably a good thing, because if we keep it going, we can continuously get a new person on. No?
Yeah, but I don't know, this summer, we might be able to do it every week, but that would take a good amount of coordination.
Correct.
Yeah. Food for thought, for sure. What else was I gonna bring up? Any improvements for the podcast moving forward?
Not that I can think of. If we do two or one a week, we could probably just do 2 in one day.
That'd be interesting.
So then you just have them stored.
pocketed.
Yeah.
Yeah, or we could like really commit to doing it every 2 weeks, but then if we also find another day to record, we can do it
Yeah.
then.
Okay.
Because like, Drew's hitting me up, seeing if we could do it Monday.
Gotcha. Oh.
Schedules and coordinate. Not everybody, has Thursdays available.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Thursday is a different day.
Yeah.
But, all right.
All right, one of the most controversial topics
Yeah.
we went through, that was the transgenderism topic. Then
Yeah.
artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we gain a better understanding together. And then I think one of the other huge topics was the man Elon Musk is brought up a lot.
Not this time, but
Not this time, but through the past 8 seasons, it's been a lot.
8 episodes.
Yeah.
8 seasons.
8 seasons. Yeah, I think it's publicized and made me defend
Well
Elon Musk
documented that you have to
a
defend
lot.
him. I don't like him. I don't. It's
This
also
didn't
well
used to
documented.
happen,
I don't
you
like
know?
him.
I didn't have to defend him.
It wasn't really.
This is a new thing, but now it's not even just here. I have to do it off the podcast too.
I mean, I personally I haven't even liked him since high school. But I also,
So, I guess my fear, and I kind of have some evidence to back it, to be honest. But my fear is that like people are really, they really hate Elon Musk.
Correct.
Really hate him, and they think he is an enemy to democracy.
I mean, there's a lot of fanboys out there, so I think you're all right.
Right. So I say I like Elon Musk. 8 episodes later, Sam's calling me a dick rider. It's like, dude, I said I liked him, and now you're just throwing all this shade at Elon.
You did say he was an idol.
Oh, I said he's inspired me more than anybody else that I know of.
Yeah. So that was where he came with the dick rider comment, I think.
Well, he came at it pretty early. Maybe it was after that. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't.
But he couldn't even say anybody that's, an inspiring figure.
I named a couple.
You named one.
I named Mark Cuban.
Oh, right.
And I named Mackenzie Scott as two more
Mackenzie
inspired.
Scott.
Mackenzie Scott.
Jeff Bezos' ex.
Yep.
And the Pope. The Pope was your first one.
Pope is more inspiring than Elon Musk, is what I will say.
Yeah, that's not an argument I'm going to take. I definitely think it's funny that it comes from you for sure, but
I'm not Catholic. I mean, he has good quotes. He's again, you can from the outside.
They're both great. I'm not trying to
No. What I'm saying is like even from the outside, you can recognize when like the Pope is good or when somebody is good, right? Like this Pope is much better than Benedict XVI or what was the one right before? There's two. Two in between John Paul II and Benedict. It was John Paul II, Benedict. I don't remember.
Yeah, we'll cut that.
But yeah, it's whatever. But no, I just think he's good. He just the issue.
No, I agree. He's great.
The issue is the Cardinals. It's a whole issue. There's
problems. There's a lot of problems.
Well, because he is the liberal pope, right? Sure. He's called the liberal pope because he has like a lot of fresh ideas, but the Cardinals all really don't want it to change. They're very much like keep it as it is, but shit's got to change sometimes.
Yeah, change is good. That's another thing. We talked about the environment a lot. I really like asking our guests because a lot of them mention climate change at some point. So I really like asking them when doomsday's coming.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's very interesting. See, like, I was thinking today, how bad is the climate change?
I mean, it's pretty bad, isn't it? The world has heated up by more than a degree, hasn't it? Like a degree Celsius.
Over the span of what time?
like 100 years, which is not normal.
100 years?
No, that's a lot though. Like it's not supposed to, it's like, you know, when we went into like the Ice Age, right? That was over thousands of years. Like a degree Celsius in 100 years is a lot. And that was it being
probably
recorded.
so. But if change is so good, then climate change being so bad kind of is backwards, no?
Well, no. So I mean,
That's fun logic, though.
Personally, what I think another issue with climate change, I think there's also a lot of diseases in that permafrost that melts. Like when it melts and gets in the water.
Yeah, definitely haven't been afraid of that.
I don't know. I just think that's another thing. Like, you know, there's diseases.
That's something to think about, though. Yeah.
Yeah. There's diseases that died out a long time ago, and they could be trapped in there. I mean, there's shit trapped in there all the time. Dead animals.
I don't know. I'm pretty strong. I drink my milk, you know.
Oh, speaking of, that's something that's super fucked up.
Drinking milk?
No, in school we were taught to drink milk, and
No.
water was not available.
It's crazy. I've seen more on Twitter since we talked about it.
It's
Water,
so true.
Okay, I know
It
the
is
problem.
so
the
true.
problem is not with the milk. All right, I decided in my head because I like milk. The problem is not enough water. It's not that there is milk.
There was no option for water. That is the issue.
Water should be a standard. You should get milk.
I remember.
water.
I think it was 8th grade was the first time I got water as an option for lunch.
That is crazy.
Like,
But man, milk's great.
the dairy farmers had a fucking hole. They spent so much money getting that into schools. The Got Milk campaign. That's from the United Dairy Farmers.
Oh yeah, I watched a great documentary on that. Well, like, yeah,
it's fucking
they
wild.
killed it. They killed it for sure.
They did, but it's just crazy to think back, and it's like everybody I talked to talks about how they were like kind of dehydrated, and then you were told not to like bother class trying to go outside, and it's like we weren't allowed water.
We weren't
bottles.
really told that. Really.
Oh, we weren't allowed to bring
Don't
water.
bother
bottles.
class.
Yeah,
You weren't allowed to bring water bottles?
no, not until like 6th grade. I would say it was 6th grade where water bottles were allowed because they were worried we were gonna dump it. As like
Dump it.
Like just
Yeah,
dump,
you
pour it.
idiot.
But it's like you
Hilarious.
think back at it, you're like, holy shit! I was probably dehydrated all of those years because the only time we could get water was after gym, and you went to the water fountain.
Oh, and everybody is trying to drink a gallon.
Yeah, and you got like 20 seconds. Wild.
The problem is the access to water, not that there is milk is an option.
No, milk should be an option, but water should also be an option.
Consistently,
every
yeah.
single day.
Yeah, like how's Michigan like so close? Like,
Well, shit,
Flint,
even
Michigan?
a cup of water.
How far is that? That's not that far.
I mean, it's pretty close to Detroit.
Alexa, how long would it take to drive to Flint, Michigan? Does it know my location?
A drive to Flint would take about 4 hours and 41 minutes.
Oh my gosh, you know my location? Shut up, please don't respond. Wow, that's crazy. 4 hours.
I mean, that was.
They don't have water 4 hours away.
But that was also.
Holy,
that's
crazy.
That was also a massive government fuck up.
So, how long ago was that fuck up? I mean, yeah,
Like
that's a problem.
60, 70 years.
Right. Should be fixed, right?
No, the fuck up was with the pipe. They gotta restart.
So, restart, rip that shit out.
But, and then I think it's also.
Bring some jobs in. How bad would that be?
I think there's also I think I just saw one. There's one in Mississippi as well. It's the capital. Jackson, Mississippi doesn't have any clean water right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, that's way more of a problem for me than climate change, to be honest. Like, way more of a problem. That's our neighbors. 4 hours away? That's the wrong way. 4 hours away?
No, I agree that's an issue, too.
That's crazy. We should be putting in new infrastructure there ASAP. What's the problem with that? That should be easy.
Yeah?
Hello?
I don't know. They might have...
I don't think politics is hard. I think politics get way inflated. And I think people get so... I don't know. they assume so much when people say very little and get very argumentative.
The issue with
I don't
politics.
know.
The issue with politics is, one, they're backed by organizations, both sides, backed by different organizations.
Yeah, so that brings me
causes
to the biggest problem, which is the parties.
Yeah.
Why do we gotta have parties? Oh,
Well, I think we should have more options. I think the issue is if you only have two, they slowly get further and further away.
I think a huge problem is you having to identify with a party in the primaries.
You can identify. You can identify as independent.
No, you can't.
Yes, you can. It just means you don't vote in the primaries.
Okay,
That's
right,
the thing.
right. So you can't vote. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it makes sense because it's like the party candidate. But when has an independent won?
No. Okay.
Never, right?
So when you identify as
Never.
independent, you're not
So
voting for an independent. You're just saying that I'm going to vote for a Republican or a Democrat. I don't know. Like you're an independent voter. Like you're listening to both sides.
Right.
Like you're not actually going to be voting in a primary.
Right.
Because
That is weird.
But
yeah, that makes sense.
But no, I think there just needs to be. I think there needs to be more parties because we need more people to vote for. I think we only have like more parties that are actually seen on like debates, right? Not just Republican versus Democrat. Because
Yeah, I still can't get like
because the fact there's only two, like for example, 2020, it was like.
I think forever it'll be a bad idea. Parties will forever be bad. Even if there's 4, even if there's 8.
Yeah, but you can
there's
probably
20.
find a better person. I mean, 2020 was literally like,
Well,
I don't
think,
like Biden, but I hate
that's-
Trump a lot fucking more.
I think that's the problem with why you don't see a regular person is because they can't win the primary or the
I mean, there's never gonna. I mean, no matter what, like even if we had no parties, like the person that would get elected is gonna have more than 50% backing, and it's gonna be somebody that's a politician already.
Yeah, right. But I think.
But okay, my another one of my issues, right, is with politics. They feel like they have to do something. Like I guess sexy, you know, like they gotta do something that isn't as simple as infrastructure, or like as basic as infrastructure, because they feel like nobody appreciates infrastructure. So that isn't something they decide to do, which is dumb because the
it's
U.S.
a popularity
needs
contest to win.
correct, but that's actually another thing.
Candidacy for either party. So the problem is you have to win the representation of your party before you can win presidency.
That's for presidency though. You can do infrastructure locally. They just don't do it because they're worried that we'll lose them the next election because they didn't do something else. Because people don't care as much. It's just so. Actually, it was Australia. They banned assault rifles. But they started buying guns back, and they haven't had a mass shooting for 20 years or something in Australia, something like that. But when they did that, the person who passed the bill was not reelected ever again. But they talked to an Australian and they talked to an American politician, and they asked, "What's your number one goal, like in office?" And the Australian said, like, to pass some sort of legislation that's meaningful, like something that's meaningful for the country, like that will improve the country.
I want to do something.
Yeah, and the American said to get reelected. That sums up everything.
Well, you could look at that as somebody saying, I don't know what I want to do, but I want to do something, and I want to do something good.
Yeah.
And then the other guy saying, I want to do something and do enough good to be awarded re-election. Is how you could interpret that.
To be awarded, but that's not
to win.
But that's
re-election.
not how it works. A lot of times, it's just to be reelected. That's their goal. They campaign for more than half of their term.
It's
been millions.
The focus is on the popularity contest.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's my issue with politics. I think it's a lot of.
I think
like if I
it goes back to the parties.
if I mean a little bit, but it's like.
Yo, do you think Elon Musk is a fascist?
A fascist is an ultra nationalist.
Right.
I don't think he's like that ultra nationalist for the U.S. So probably not.
Do you think he?
I think he's a little.
Fascist like.
I think he's a little bigoted. I don't think he really likes black people. For example.
Based on
He had a factory called the Plantation, and that's where all the black people worked.
Yeah, I haven't looked into that specific one.
And then
That's crazy.
He is from South Africa, where his family had an emerald mine,
Right.
and that would be where black people were working, and they definitely didn't care if there was an issue, because jewels like that, they're like blood diamonds, blood rubies, blood emeralds. That's like a pretty common.
Yeah, I think he gets a lot of credit for, I don't know, his ancestors for sure.
Well, no, I'm just saying I don't think he is a fascist, because a fascist has to be somebody who's ultra national. I don't think he is like gun ho about the U.S. Like, I don't know. I don't see him. I haven't seen him blaming a particular fascist. Like, the reason why people say Trump is a fascist.
Dude, I got called a fascist recently. Isn't that crazy?
By who?
Somebody I know.
Oh.
Not really. It wasn't directly.
Okay.
It was an attempt at a joke.
Okay.
But it related to Elon Musk, so I was like rethinking a lot, because I was like, do people think he is so extreme, and me liking him makes me so extreme? Like it kind of messed with my head. I'm not gonna lie.
So for example, like the reason why Trump was called a fascist was because he blamed illegal immigrants for all the issues in the U.S. Right? Fascism is usually you blame a particular group for all of the issues.
Say that again.
Trump.
One more time. Yeah.
Trump blamed illegal immigrants for all of the issues in the U.S. That's why he was called a fascist, because you tend to call somebody fascist because what Hitler did was he blamed a particular group for all of the issues in Germany. He blamed the Jews for the issues in the country. That's what fascism is. Yeah. That's ultranationalism.
No, I got a good grasp of what fascism is.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Elon doesn't blame a particular group, at least from what I know. I don't.
I really haven't thought of if I consider Trump a fascist, to be honest. That's a good question, though. I think that's definitely a decent argument, because ultra nationalist,
well, it's the "Make America Great Again" slogan.
Right.
Then he had them storm the Capitol.
Right. I mean, he didn't say those words, storm the Capitol.
Correct.
You can infer that he could imply that. Yeah.
And then you've got.
It certainly wasn't discouraged.
Well,
yeah.
So he's also got extreme followers.
I don't think
he had extreme followers. Right? Who there's a lot of Republicans that.
I think everybody has extreme followers.
I would not storm the Capitol for Biden.
No.
I voted for Biden. No, I don't think. I don't think Biden has anybody that would storm a Capitol for him if he lost the next election.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, that's just a funny thing to say. Yeah.
I'm gonna vote for Biden. I will vote for Biden next election, because it's gonna be between DeSantis or Biden, or Trump or Biden.
It's kind of I feel like I know I talk to people that don't think there are two extreme sides. They think there is a competing side against them, and that the people that they agree with and they share similar opinions with don't have any extreme ideas, or don't that there is that argument that goes to an extreme level, which I think is rarely the case, that there isn't two extremes or multiple extremes, when talking about these.
I mean, if there
broad
was
topics,
a party that was more in the middle, they would clean the fuck up. Like they would win the next election. If they had enough backing to actually get on to the
DeSantis.
debates.
That's why I the term fascist was brought up, is because I brought up Musk and DeSantis talked.
Oh, that's not good. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good.
You know, I'm not against people talking.
Yeah, but not with DeSantis.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, I didn't really realize how, because I've known DeSantis for quite a while.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize how prevalent the hatred and like how prevalent the thought that he is evil is, I guess.
I mean, you can read some of his quotes. They're pretty bad. Like, I've witnessed like just some of his interviews, and they're...
Well, don't take me out of context either. I'm just saying.
No, but it's not even out of context. Like, it'll be a full interview. Like, it's bad. He is basically a more politically astute Trump. Like, he has very similar ideas. He just gets away with it more because he says it maybe a little bit better.
Yeah, what do you have any thoughts on the whole, like, the Title 19 that was lifted that Trump put into...
Sorry, I don't know for sure. Title 19 is like no discrimination in the workplace, right?
Oh, maybe I'm way off here. When was it?
I could be wrong.
Title 59, maybe?
Of
it was an immigration policy Trump put in place that got lifted, I think, earlier this month. It was definitely very recently. And, I mean, I definitely saw a lot on Twitter about mass immigration kind of happening. Or definitely an influx of immigration as a result of this.
I mean, the big issue...
I don't even know what law got lifted, but I know the laws against illegal immigrants kind of got softened, or the punishment, or not
probably.
punishment.
The big issue with immigration into the U.S., legal and illegal, is the visa process is so fucking long that a lot of people feel like they have no choice but to come in illegally.
Yeah, it takes about a decade if you're being
correct, which is
diligent.
which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because
I'm not saying
because
our
our ancestors from Ireland came over one day and their kids got citizenship and
we're starting fresh.
Yeah. It wasn't that hard. It was not that hard at that time.
Cheers.
I got my Diet Coke right now, but
yeah.
But what I'm saying is, like, DeSantis with it is actually one of the worst with it because he's just been moving them. Like, he's just been moving immigrants, like, and promising them jobs when they have nothing going for them. He just kind of
let's bring them up to Flint. They
Yeah.
need some plumbing done.
I mean, that would be better than where he just brings them to. Where is it? Martha's Vineyard. He's just dropped immigrants in Martha's Vineyard because he just doesn't want them in Florida anymore. But takes them away from all their family, takes them away from everybody.
Yeah.
So,
it'd probably be best to not let them in at all than to let them in and then keep them somewhere. Right.
Well, to move them away
move
from family.
them, keep them.
Because if you don't want,
controlling them,
if you're worried,
them.
if you're worried about crime, the chances are people that are not near family and desperate are much more likely to do crime than somebody who's at least got family to lean on.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So, and then the visa process, since it takes so long, I mean, that's the big issue. It really is.
Yeah. Well, I agree.
So
crazy.
I don't know. I just think that DeSantis is a mess. I think he's worse. I just think he's Fox
Like,
News.
I know...
He's Fox News' favorite.
I know specifically you're against DeSantis because of the bill. House Bill 1557 or the Don't Say Gay bill.
That too.
Which, if you were to give like a quick spark notes of why you dislike the bill.
Well, basically, it gives all the power to the parents about not allowing homosexuality to be taught in schools, and there is no limit to when that stops. So, they can't. They could not teach it ever because of that.
Right. So I think the only legitimate like numbers that I could find in the bill was it restricting them talking about sexual orientation and gender identity in kindergarten through 3rd grade.
No, it's all the way through is the issue. Like, they can't just talk about it at all if they don't want to. It's comfortability. But also,
I don't think it says that, but I'll read it again.
But also on top of it, with it, I mean, a part of learning stuff, especially in high school, is you learn uncomfortable truths. Like, specifically history. That's one of my big worries about a bill like that, is because if you start feeling like you can't teach anything that a parent feels uncomfortable about, then everything gets sanitized to the point where the U.S. has never, ever, ever done anything wrong. And that's just not true. And that's okay to know that we did stuff that was fucked up. Like, it's okay.
Yeah, for sure. We have to acknowledge our past for
correct.
Sure as a species and a people. And a growing intelligence. I mean, the human mind is very much still evolving,
Well, yeah, but it's just like, if you don't learn about the uncomfortable truths, they are doomed to repeat themselves. And that's always.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I'll say I'm against indoctrinating kindergarten through 3rd graders with gender identity.
But you're talking like indoctrinate as in like, we're going to show them.
Teach them. That's what indoctrinating means, to teach.
No, indoctrinating means like Hitler's youth was indoctrinated. Saying like, you're taught the fascism rules and you're going to follow them. Indoctrination means like, you are teaching them to become.
Right, so you're teaching an ideology about gender identity.
But yes,
so you're teaching an ideology about a cultural.
You don't even have to teach that. You just have to teach they exist. People exist.
Construct. It's a social construct.
We're gonna go back down the same path, but right. I'm just saying teaching people exist.
If gender is a social construct and it is this socially made up thing,
it is a social
that's not
construct,
backed by scientific fact, then why are we teaching kids about that?
I mean, the social construct is also based on history, that it's a social construct. Based on history and on science and all of it.
No, the science is that there are 2 genders. 2
sexes, not 2 genders.
A gender is...
Gender and sex are 2 opposite things.
The definition of gender is a male or female, or somebody specifically identifying. There's like a longer definition for people who...
Specifically identifying as male or female, which transgender people do. They identify as a male or a female.
But I think the biological genders are male and female.
Biological sexes, not genders.
Right.
We're going to keep going back down this one.
I think teaching the social construct is the problem.
But it's not even just that. It's just teaching them that there are people out there that are
I'm not saying deny the facts that these people exist. And that you
but that's how they could be taught. It doesn't.
Saying
they don't have to be.
I don't think we should be required to teach it.
But they don't. But they don't have to be taught the ins and outs of what happens. They just have to be taught that the person exists, and that should be taught, because everybody should be acknowledged as existing.
So should they go through all the other mental illnesses and have to teach those?
Honestly, the fact is, there are kids that have depression. That is a normal thing.
Right.
So like,
So you think
that being taught is
society would
better
benefit from learning about all of the mental illnesses?
I don't think transgender is necessarily mental illness. I don't know how they see that. I don't think that is necessarily mental illness.
I think if you are biological male and you have,
I don't
penis,
think it's
thinking yourself as a woman, I think there is, something
I don't know.
mentally.
I don't know if it's considered
incorrect.
a mental illness though. I don't. So I'm not
All
going
right.
to say that.
Well, there's the difference. A difference for sure.
But yeah.
Let's see. We're almost through my big topics.
No, I think we got them all right.
Yeah. You got any big topics from this past 8? Or any fresh ones?
Yeah, we're gonna need fresh ones. Oh.
Oh, for sure. We can't keep talking about this. For sure.
Oh, you need to cut your fantasy football players. I'm the commissioner for our league.
Yeah, I'm sure I do.
I think I'm gonna make a $10 per person. They get $100 for the winner, $20 for second place.
Okay.
Make it a little more interesting. Get people more
spiced up.
interested.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty poor at doing the fantasy. Pretty poor at keeping up. Pretty poor at evolving my team. Yeah. The most I get fired up about sports is definitely the referees, for sure. No matter, pretty much, yeah. It's often that I disagree with the referees, for sure.
Should add the refs to your team.
Dude, we win every time if I had the refs.
They'll get negative points if it's a missed call.
Well, can you short sell them? Huh. Any good stocks I should be investing in or short selling?
I mean, I've been investing in CRISPR, which is the DNA gene modification. It's done pretty well for me. I just do Robinhood, so I put $20. I put $20 in every couple weeks and just kind of play with it. So,
nice.
Yeah, but CRISPR's
So
up.
how often do you trade your existing stocks, or do you always just buy?
I try to keep for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I'll probably look at it and renew it in 6 months, and try to transition. But I would say every 3 to 6 months. I would do every quarter. I wouldn't change it every day.
Right.
Like people do.
Yeah, no, I'm a
trading's a
buy
little
and
risky.
hold kind of person where I'm like, oh, I'm in it for the long run in this company.
Yeah.
I've hardly ever trade out a stock I have.
Yeah, so I've got I think I started it 8 weeks ago. So I have a few companies in there. Eli Lilly's a big one. Always a good company to have.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, their footprint is huge in Indianapolis.
Oh yeah, they're massive.
Yeah.
But they actually changed the rule on changed their amount that insulin was gonna cost. They lowered it
Nice.
by a lot.
Huh. That's good.
Yeah. So they're usually run pretty decent.
Oh, yeah, I imagine most pharmacies are most pharmacies and research, medical industry type companies, probably a solid bet.
Yeah. Sometimes though they're run by a fucking asshole, so that doesn't help.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
There's a lot of.
I've said it before on this podcast. I think the medical industry is the most corrupt.
That's why I told you to like Cuban.
Yeah, and I like Cuban.
You should be.
Don't get me wrong.
He should be more inspiring. He has good ideas.
Like I said, I've seen him in person. I'm largely inspired by Mark Cuban.
Just more than Musk. He should be more than Musk.
I don't have to. It's not even that I like Elon Musk more than Mark Cuban. It's just that you perceive it that way because I have to defend Mark.
No, you said
the fact that I
you
like.
said Elon Musk is the
Elon
most
Musk.
inspiring person.
He's more inspiring to me. I will say that.
Correct. That's what I'm talking about. Cuban
But
should
I
be more
don't
inspiring.
like him. I don't know. Like him more, I guess.
Okay, Cuban should be more inspiring, is what I'll say.
Yeah, he's largely inspiring. I saw him at Big Red Liquors. He was promoting.
Oh, we love. I was a Big Red Liquors
What
met
was
50
it?
Cent.
Oh yeah, that's sick. But it was jukebox like juice or something. It was some like alcoholic jukebox on Shark Tank that he was in Bloomington at Big Red Liquors for. It's a good time.
50 Cent was at the Big Red Liquors in Greenwood.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, he's like sponsoring the Pacers, or there's some kind of deal with him. With the Pacers?
His champagne is the champagne of the Pacers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
That's cool.
but
That'll be fun.
all right.
All right. Well, you got any race day or race weekend plans?
I don't think so.
I'm going to the track tomorrow. I'm very excited. I will say, should be a great time.
There you go.
Either way, long weekend. I think we're gonna close up. We should
Yeah.
do the intro properly, right?
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So, Friends with Differences podcast. Welcome back. Special episode. I think I'm gonna call it the Friends with Differences Meeting or something. You know? Me and Liam just hear this episode, giving a recap on the past podcasts.
Yeah.
So we went through some of our major topics through this past 8 episodes.
Yep.
Pretty much. Anything you want to add?
Did AI more transgender talk? Because that was the craziest thought.
Yeah. There
got a
are
little bit of
differences
Elon in
that
it.
are quite further apart than other differences for sure. The range of differences.
My hatred for DeSantis will reign supreme.
Oh yeah.
That's it.
All right. Well, appreciate you guys for listening. Hope you guys enjoy.
Yep.
And until next time.
Peace.
Peace.
Friends with differences.
Friends